Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. As promised, we're going to try and bring you more content every single week and keep you updated with the latest from the store, what's going on around the precision rifle world, the NRL hunter world, and everything in between. I've got my sidekick with me today, James. James runs a store with me. It's just something a bit different tonight. We've always been saying that precision rifle is personal and there is a huge amount of options out there. Now, we're going to be doing a separate video in the very near future on precision rifle builds and what makes a good precision rifle. And we're going to go through balancing, weights, and all that sort of stuff. But wanted to run through this with James today to talk about his build, what it is, and why he went for it. Now, a lot of you will know, if you're familiar with the shop or us and speak to us often, we brought in a whole bunch of Lone Peak Fuzion actions into the UK. They were the first lot over, and they flew off the shelves. We took a whole pre-order, and every single one sold. And James was lucky enough to take one in left-handed for himself. It was kind of a last-minute decision, but
yeah, it was very last minute.
It was very last minute. We tacked it onto the order very quickly, and it's now fully built. Everything's done, and James has got his pride and joy dream rifle build. And we thought we'd run through it just to go through what's kind of available and what James went for and why I went for. So without further ado, let's crack on. Obviously, welcome to the channel, buddy. Yeah. It's obviously a store channel, but it's the first time you've come on there. So
it's new for me.
Very new for you.
On the old video front.
Yeah. So talk us through what you've got.
I'll give you a quick rundown on this. So it started with a chassis. Yep. Usually a custom build starts with an action. Mine started backwards, like everything I do. It started with a chassis. This was the very first ACC MDT ACC Elite left-handed chassis to land in the UK.
Yes.
And I snapped it up as quick as I could.
It was a funny story on that. We'll save that for
That's another time, yeah. But I snapped it up as quick as I could. And then that was like, right, now I've got to build myself my custom build.
You were on the fence about custom build for a while.
I was very much on the fence. Yeah. The ums and ahs, I've never... No, Tikka always shot well enough for what I needed it to. Yeah. I love my Tikkas, and it was one day I just thought, you know what, I need to join the club of custom builds. Let's go for it. We're importing the actions. Let's go for it. So I went with the Lone Peak Fuzion. Like I say, this was one of two of the only left-handed Lone Peak actions in the country.
We had two come into the UK. Yeah.
So that was my action. That was sported realistically from when we had. Phil over. I had to play around with his little Lone Peak Fuzion.
We're talking about Phil Vallejo, by the way. A lot of you will know who Phil is. If you don't know who Phil is, he runs an incredible channel. Everything from NRL hunter to precision rifle to instructional videos to lifestyle. He's a long range creative, and he's one of the most solid guys you'll meet. So if you haven't seen Phil Vallejo on YouTube, I'll be very surprised if you haven't, if you're following us and you're into this sort of thing. But go find Phil and give him a follow. Yeah.
So like I say, I had to go with Phil's setup. Other than it being right-handed, it was fantastic. Fell in love with it. Loved how smooth the action was. So that was the start of the dream.
Yeah.
Of pushing forward for this new custom build. So I ordered the action, got that in.
Didn't you have the barrel for about 6 to 8 months before the action
again,
as well?
Everything's backwards. So I had the barrel, I had the chassis, I had the bipod, I had all the weights, I had the Baker wings.
We've just lost the light. So ignore the green flashing, the light's playing up.
Didn't have the action. Funny story, still haven't got a trigger. But I got everything else. We got it.
There is a trigger in there.
There's
a trigger single stage diamond in there.
We got it all Frankenstein together.
What did you chamber it up in? What did you go for in the end?
I went with a 6BRA again.
Again. So your last Tikka build was a 6BRA as well, and you enjoyed shooting that, didn't you?
I loved it. I've had a few BR barrels before that on Tikkas, but fancied same speeds, less pressure. So I went with the BRA. I don't like how short the neck is on a dasher, so
fair enough. Yep.
I scrapped the dasher idea. Plus, it's easier to find my brass when there's only me. Over 1 million dashers out there in the world.
That's very true. There is a lot of dashers shooting precision rifle in the UK now.
100%. So I had years of trying to cram little BR brasses into
Yeah.
single stack mags. So as soon as Grey Ops released their new AW billet mag,
Yep.
I was all over that.
Yep.
And honestly, running AW mags, I don't know what I'd be like without them now.
So for those watching, there's a big difference when it comes to AW style mags. Now James has got one of the little the 3D printed rubber grips on the bottom, which I noticed is actually on backwards. So we'll flip that around.
Flip that the right way around.
Now, the height difference on an AW mag is very different to a typical, for instance, like a 12 round MDT mag is about there. So this will get 12 rounds in there. You've got the 10 and 12 round indicators on it. This is the 12 round variant, not the 10. Now, the height difference is very, very different. So it allows you to clear obstacles and stuff a bit better. So if you're shooting off, for instance, something like rocks in precision rifle, there's every chance that your mag is going to drive into that rock, so it makes a difference. So that was one of the biggest things.
It was one of the biggest things for me. Tyres and magazines for me have always been an issue. So a shorter mag and easier loading is a godsend.
Yep.
It's absolute godsend. Everybody who can run AWs should run AWs. That's all I'm going to say. And you can get them here all day long.
So barrel-wise, it's proof.
Barrels proof.
Competition
console.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice
1
and
in
simple.
7.5 twist.
It is a 1 in 7.5 twist. Yeah.
And you're running a APA little bastard on the front.
Little bastard on the front. It's first time running that. Fantastic little brake for how small it is.
It does the job.
Brilliant.
How do you feel that recoil is on? We're kind of jumping a little bit, but how do you find recoil is on a 6 BRA in comparison to something like a 6.5 Creedmoor? So obviously, a lot of you will know that there's a whole minefield of different cartridges, calibers that you can shoot for precision rifle. The majority you'll find are going to shoot something like a 6mm Dasher, and then you've got 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, obviously, 6 BRA is slightly snappier than a standard 6 BRA. You've got a bit more speed, less pressure, but with something like that brake on it, what's the recoil profile like?
Easiest way of explaining it for me between a 6 BRA and the 6.5 Creedmoor is between a cough and a sneeze.
Okay, so it's more of a snap then.
It's an enjoyable, pleasant shooting gun.
Okay,
it's like a little 223 that does phenomenal things.
That's fine. And do you think the weight plays a factor in that? Because this is about 22.5 pounds.
About 22.5 pounds.
You got internal weights on that?
There's full internal weights,
internals,
2 externals,
and Baker wings.
Yeah. The weight does play a massive part in any rifle build, especially with PRS. The simple point of it with me is when you pull the trigger, it doesn't move. You can watch every single shot in and react on it. And
you talk about watching shots in. You're running a Carless 525i. This is the DLR version, yeah?
DLR version, yeah.
Obviously, you got the sunshade on there. A lot of people are running sunshades now. It's just handy to have it on there. It doesn't affect the rifle. Obviously, it depends what you're shooting on. But
it stays on the rifle, but it will come off as and when needed. Yeah.
Cool. And what do you think of the 525? Because again, this was something that you got prior to this overall build, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've run this for over 12 months now.
Just over 12 months.
And I wouldn't be without it now.
So
Carless
is your flavour.
It's my flavour.
That's what you go
It's
for.
my flavour. I've shot through a fair few different scopes. I've looked through a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
And Carless just fits my eyes. Scopes, in my opinion, are very eye related. So if your eye marries up with the glass, you're good.
Scopes like music and art, it's subjective.
Yeah,
so it's very much down to the end user. Yeah. So I'm obviously, as a lot of you know, I'm a Loophole Pro Team shooter, so I run a Mark V, but that's because it's not just the fact that I got the opportunity to shoot for Loophole, but I used one and I was like, yeah, okay, I can see what's going on here, and it suits my eye better. So this
suits me, yeah.
That's what you run.
Yeah.
So you're shooting mills. You've been shooting some long distance on that. I see your parallax is on 1,000 yards.
1,000 yards.
That was the first match you shot last week, because this is a brand new barrel as well.
This is brand spanking new. It's sub 100, possibly sub 80 rounds down the barrel.
And what kind of speed? Because you run a real tame load on this.
This is really, really tame. It's coming out at 2,515 feet per second.
So you just let it chill out.
I
break the barrel in. And
I just threw some powder in it, guessed it'd be about 25-50,
Yeah.
slightly off, and rolled with it for a match, which could have been a 1,000-yard match.
That's fine.
Rolled with it, just let it get up to 100, 150 rounds, and then I'll start doing some
You start
proper
doing
load
some
development. Yeah.
So load development is obviously for those who are obviously new to this and obviously new to precision rifle. What we're doing on the channel, we're gonna do so much more on this, but load development is obviously key for your precision rifle. So you said before, I think you're running 107 SMKs in this at the moment. You're going to change to 109s once you know what's going on.
Yep.
But you're just breaking the barrel in nicely. You're running N140, is it?
N140,
N140, Magtech primers.
Magtech primers.
And you're running Alpha Munitions, BRA brass.
Yes.
Good stuff. Okay.
Easy button with everything.
Easy button with everything. Cool. So when it comes to the action itself, what do you think, and this is the whole point of this video, what do you think this action does to separate itself from something like a Tikka that's going to come straight off the shelf? Now, we've both been very open. We both love Tikka.
Oh,
I've shot many a Tikka now.
There will always be a Tikka in my cabinet.
Yeah, well, the NRL Hunter build that we're doing, so you'll see a video coming in the next couple of weeks. The NRL Hunter build that I'm doing for my rifle is based on a Tikka. So obviously, they're a good platform. What do you think that this does? What's the separator between it?
The separator is usually a handful of Kansas dust or some form of American dust that acts like sandpaper.
Right, okay.
So I took the Tikka 6.5 Creedmoor to the States in November, and we had everything from dust, sand, desert, ice storms, rain.
Yeah.
And by the end of day one, I come home and I generally run the whole rifle underneath a tap.
Yeah, we had an Airbnb in the States, and we came back, and I went for a shower, came back out, and I saw James with his rifle out of the chassis underneath the tap. And what are you doing? I've got no way of cleaning it out. I need to get everything out. So we got absolutely battered on day one. Literally the last stage of day one. My rifle was literally full of water. I don't think I've ever had pressure problems like that before. And I run a very, very tame load in my rifle because I just don't like being anywhere near pressure, especially if it's performing. My 25 Creedmoor is on a BAT TR action, which is obviously another custom option. But it does make the difference. No, yes. You were talking about slop on the bolts on these. Now, slop is lateral movement within the bolt, but it's intentional.
Yeah, so running the Tikkas, there's not a lot of play side to side, in my opinion, and that's made me very picky.
Yep.
Like, I like it to be nice and smooth.
Yep.
Not a lot of play, which this does.
Yeah.
It has enough for it to work in every condition, but not enough to where it irritates you.
Right. Okay.
So it's nice and smooth. It's like glass. It is unbelievably smooth.
And you run a dry. That's a dry.
That's
bolt.
completely dry.
It's completely dry.
Just got some around the at the end of the bolt, around the lugs. Other than that, I run it completely dry.
Yeah. And
it's never.
I mean, you'll see on the video. You probably won't hear this very well, but I'm using very light pressure, and you just see how easy that bolt moves backwards and forwards within the action. The difference of a custom action is noticeable once you get hands on and you start running them for quite a while. Now, there's a whole different bunch of options on custom actions. As I said, you've got Lone Peak Fuzion, you've got BAT TR, you've got Defiance machine with a whole bunch of variations. You've got Zermatt Arms TL3. We have a TL3. Again, outstanding.
Fantastic.
I think that I would go as far as saying that the control round feed on a TL3 is absolutely the best you will get on the market.
Oh, it's a fantastic action.
Unbelievable.
For the price point as well.
For the price point, and that's on their Origin and their TL3. It's very, very difficult to beat. But as with scopes, they're subjective.
100%.
So everybody will like something different. So if you could change one thing about this rifle, what would it be?
Colour of the chassis.
Colour of the chassis.
That'd be 100%.
Okay.
The only thing that plays with me slightly is a 90-degree bolt throw.
Okay.
I think that is about the only thing. Looking at it now is probably about the only thing I'd change. It's big hands and not a lot of room.
So we discussed this before we started recording this. Now, I'll see if I can get some B-roll to overlay on this, but it's incredible how close the bolt actually is to the scope when you're cycling it, when you've got a 90 degree bolt through. Now, that's pretty much standard. Now, there is other options. A lot of the manufacturers have brought out 75-degree bolts, which will retrofit into them. So there is a significant difference on that to a Tikka.
I'm a Tikka boy, which is a 72-degree bolt throw off the top of my head. And I've run 90 degree, I've run Remy platforms before. It's just getting, obviously, like I say, this has only got less than 100 rounds down it. Just getting used to it. I'm sure get another 100 rounds and I won't even notice it.
You won't even think about it.
But,
so, in terms of rifle setups, this is your dream build, right?
Dream build.
So you're running, if we finish off what we're running, so you've obviously got the dampeners in the rear.
Dampeners.
You're running tier 1 rings. I think you said before that you
tier one everything,
you run,
100%. Sport British.
You don't run a send it level?
Nope.
That's because you prefer a bubble.
I prefer a bubble, hands down.
You've got an MDT timer, but you're struggling to find somewhere to put it on.
Yeah, there's no room for it on this.
No room. Now, do you think, and I'm asking this question because obviously we've said, what would you change about this? Do you think your scope mounts would be one of the other things you would change to something like the tier 1 long saddle mount, or even a short one, because you haven't got, I mean, the short would go on there.
The short would go on there.
You've only got a small bell housing on a 525.
Yeah.
So the short would work, because then you've got mounting options on that. Do you think that would be a difference?
Personally, I like the tacticals. I like the 2-piece mounts over a 1-piece mount. I would like the Raptor on the front. The diving board is how I say it. Raptors is
diving board is the common term for it. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd probably be my only change for scope mounts would be to have that on there. It'll give me somewhere to put my timer on there. And I wouldn't mind changing. I'm currently running the Coltac.
Yep. For your dope card holder.
For my dope card holder. I wouldn't mind changing that because they are designed for right-handed shooters. So they naturally flare the opposite way.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I get that.
So I wouldn't mind changing that.
That's fair enough. Bipod and support. You're obviously running an MDT SkyPod. So that is a standard. I think it's a Gen 1.
Gen 1, yeah.
Would you change that for a double pull?
100%.
You would.
100%.
Now, we've had discussions before about MDT SkyPods and what's suitable for precision rifle. Now, there isn't many instances where you're going to require anything other than a SkyPod, but a lot of us will chuck a Harris bipod into your buck.
Everybody should own a Harris.
Everybody should have a Harris. They're the OG. Now, triple pull has 0 spot in precision rifle for me. NRL Hunter, absolutely.
Yeah.
Triple pull is just, I think it's far too much. Double pull is right in the sweet spot personally, because you've got the PRS short, but I think that's just too short.
I think the short's too short. I think the single, if you've got a single, you won't go wrong with a single.
Yep.
But if you're looking to buy one, don't make the mistake I did and save a little bit more and get
a double pull. Okay. Yeah. So if you could, you go to double pull.
I'd go double pull.
Now, for those that are watching, all this sort of stuff is the things that you're going to have to think about when it comes to your precision rifle build. Now, the whole point of this video is to show you what's available. Now, not everybody's going to go for an ACC Elite with a SkyPod and Baker wings and full internal weights and a proof chassis and everything else. You'll get other people who will want to run a Foundation, or they'll want to run a KRG, or they'll want to put it into an MPA. So there's a whole bunch of options out there. But if we can give you information on what this is like, it gives you something to take away and digest. But overall, you're 100% happy with this build in its current situation.
Other than the paint job on it, I'm 100% happy with how it's built.
So you're going to be sending this away with Shane Conlon from Conlon Firearms in Ireland, aren't you?
At some point, when I get around to it, it's going there for a nice little pretty facelift.
It's going to have a facelift, so it'll probably be a different colour. It's
going to come back loud and proud, I'm sure.
Good. Would you change the brake? You said that would stay on there, but would you change the brake?
If money's no object, yes.
Yes.
I would. Just because I could.
Because you could. So that's important, because not everybody can afford to drop, let's do a quick maths on this, to 5.5, 6 grand. No more. Including the optic.
Including the optic.
About 8.5 grand. Not everybody can afford to do that, and that's completely fair enough.
This This for me has took 2 years.
Yeah,
2
to
years
build
to
it up
build.
that. So for the viewers, if you didn't have this, what would you do?
Tikka.
Tikka
All day long.
all day long.
Like,
Even if you couldn't run AW mags.
even if I couldn't run AW rags, a Tikka all day long. They are the factory version of perfect.
There you go. You heard it here. Tikka's a factory version of perfect.
Yeah.
So
100%.
overall, a stunning build. I'm sure everybody's going to agree that it is a very, very good looking rifle. Everything from the barrel all the way back is going to perform. It's going to do exactly what you need it to. The tactical match, you said it was just a bit of a break-in.
Just a break-in, just a fun match. It's realistically what
and
it
it
was.
held its own and you had a good crack.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
shot better than I did, that's for sure.
good. So that's the whole point of this. Even though we're spending thousands and thousands of pounds on all this kit, we've got to make sure we're having fun. Because otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, it's an expensive hobby to not have fun.
It is a very expensive hobby to not have fun. If you like any of the information you've seen on the video today, you can get in touch with us on the website, precisionshooting.store. You can speak to us in person if you ever see us, drop us a message on social media, pop us a message on this video. Obviously, give us a thumbs up if you like this sort of stuff, because the more we get back from you guys, the more we know what kind of video is going to work. Now, there is a whole load of these MDT ACCs in the UK. We get them in the shop. We sell a lot of them. But I think it's often good to have videos like this for the viewers who are thinking about their build and what it is they might actually want to do. So if you want to find out more about this sort of stuff, just get in touch. It's really no problem for us to give you some help on that. The whole point of this channel is just for us to grow as basically almost a bit of a community. So we're going to try and support you guys and do as much as we can and answer as many questions as we can for you guys and bring you as much decent content as we can in the future as well. So if you like today's video, if you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you'll keep yourselves up to date with everything from the store, the channel and us, because I'm pretty sure James will be back on again soon. This is his first video. I think he's probably enjoyed himself.
Getting there slowly.
We'll get there and we will bring you as much as we can, as often as we can. But until next time, we'll catch you soon. Cheers.
See ya.